So take a look at what's been going on for City in 2026. Just the 2 wins, that was in the Carabao Cup against Newcastle and that 10-1 thrashing of lowly Exeter. Apart from that, they have really laboured, struggled in front of goal, struggled defensively as well. For Bodø Glimt, obviously, they are very much in dreamland as they get their first win in the Champions League to take them up into 27th in the table.
Fair.
Let's welcome in Frank Leboeuf and just about on time, Stewart Robson joins us. We'll be hearing from them in a moment.
Don't upset him.
He's upset already.
A little angry before we came on air. You know, he said the sending off was soft. It wasn't. It wasn't soft. The only thing soft is his defence at the moment. City could have, United could have scored 5 against them. Bodø Glimt could have scored 5. There was one chopped off for offside. It was tight, was offside. There was another one where they hit the bar. Yes, they were down to 10 men. But I don't want to hear... I'm fed up. I don't want to hear excuses. Well, Matheus Nunes had the flu and we have... I know you've got injuries. Well, don't... You've gone out and spent, again, you brought Mark Gay in from Palace, but don't go and buy Semenya for 60-odd million. You got Mamouche, you got Foden, you got Cherki, you got Doku, you got Tijani Reinders who can play in several positions. Go and buy 2 centre-halves. If it's that bad, go and buy 2 centre-backs. Don't go and buy Semenya and spend the money there. Right, to just buffer up all these attacking options that you've got, and you can't keep clean sheets. And also, if I played a game in a big, if we played a big Manchester derby at the weekend, right, and we were young players, and my manager took me off, my chin's on the floor. Young Elaine, he says, and by the way, Kusanov's not much better, but the youngster looked fragile. Right, and I would never slaughter a young player for coming into a team and making mistakes. But what did you expect putting him back out there, away from home, on one of those sort of hybrid pitches, freezing cold, against a side that it's their big moment, playing Man City, Erling Haaland's back in town, the bags of money team have turned up. He's put the young player back out. Yeah, he's short of numbers. Ake's on the bench though, and the youngsters made 2 mistakes again. Yep. So he's kind of chucked him back in there with the Wolves. And they've been burnt. So I just don't think Man City and Pep Guardiola are making very good decisions at this moment in time.
We spoke about the Manchester derby, Erling Haaland, pretty much anonymous in that. We kind of gave him, well, the boys gave him a pass saying that he's just not getting the supply at the moment. He's not getting the balls. You take a look at his form of late, he's really struggling to find the back of the net. I think it's 1 penalty in 9 games. How much blame do we put on the striker? How much do we put the blame on the supply?
Well, there is blame to the supply, and he is a player that does need that supply. But there were a couple of chances today. When the game was 2-0, and as we mentioned in reference, he's able to get ahead of the defender, puts good contact on the ball, and it should be on target.
It's like your minutes per goal,
And let me just say, for the record, that's not very good. That's not very good. What I would say about Erling Haaland is that early on in the season, we're talking about, well, look, if it's not Erling Haaland scoring the goals, then where are the goals going to come from? And we can ask this very same question right now. If Erling Haaland is not scoring the goals, then where are the goals going to come from? And they're not coming from anywhere else. And so all the focus is on Erling Haaland, and rightfully so. He is who he is, and he's an elite striker, and we should demand and expect more from him. But the service is not there. The quality of play in the attack right now for Manchester City is not there. The quality of passing is not there. The quality of possession is not there. So often we talked about this team struggling in moments of transition defensively. Well, it doesn't happen by accident. The starting point to this lack of defending in transition moments comes from the fact that they're turning the ball over in bad areas. So there are issues. Of course, when we focus on Erling Haaland, we're going to say, well, he's not scoring goals. All right, fine. Put that aside. That's not the only thing that is going wrong. And while Max Alejandro today had difficulties, so did Rodri. So it's not only the young guys that are struggling, the old guys are struggling too. The struggles right now for Manchester City are across the board.
Just a quick one before we go to the boys. I've got a beef about this with Man City, with this spending all this money and a manager making excuses. For all those defensive things we talked about and who they may have signed and should have signed and who they have, Akanji's still a Man City player. He's in Italy on a loan that I believe had a recall if they needed, and they do need, whether they want Akanji long-term or not, well, they obviously don't. And he was asked about this a couple of weeks ago when it was falling apart at the seams, and they said, no, we won't be calling. He's doing pretty well in Italy, by the way, Akanji, at this moment in time. And Guardiola said, no, we won't be calling Akanji back. That's fine. I don't want to hear any excuses. Yeah. If you've got a player who's on your books, he's an option, you don't want to call him back, and you're signing forward players, there's no excuses.
The thing is, I suppose, for today, it's not an anomaly, is it? We've seen this from Manchester City too much over the last few weeks, Robbo.
Yeah, there was lots of things wrong with their play today, and the two guys in the studio have just mentioned all that. But I'm going to pick up on something else. He played Ait Nouri at right back, and the outball throughout the first half was Ait Nouri because Cherchi was taking the fullback in, and the switch of play was on. And he must have had the ball more than any other Manchester City player on the pitch in that first half. He was the outball, but being a left-footed player, he wasn't quite sure. He had to come back, he had to go back into midfield, and it completely stopped crosses coming into the box. So why did he play him at right back when he could have played Lewis at right back? He could have played him at left back. He could have then played the left back into midfield. So he got his tactics all wrong as well. But going back to the lack of energy, you know, we were hoping that Rodri would come back and sort of show the quality that he had done before. We did it when he came on as a sub, I think, against Sunderland. And we all said, oh, maybe Rodri's back. Today, he looked like the player that has just come back from an injury a year ago, where he couldn't run. That's why he committed the 2 fouls, is because he couldn't run. For the goal that you just saw, somebody went past him with ease, and he can't control the middle of the pitch. So they were slow in the middle of the pitch. Reinder was making forward runs and then couldn't get back. Rico Lewis kept on making forward runs and didn't get back. If you're going to go and press the ball when the goalkeeper's got it, and I understand that, and the midfield players are pressing on, when the goalkeeper kicks it beyond you, you have to recover. But every time the ball went forward into the front players, the midfield players of Bodø Glimt got there first, and the Man City midfield players were too slow in reacting. That's just poor play all round by the manager and the players.
Frank Leboeuf.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Dan. No, the thing is that I really think that everything has to be reset from Pep Guardiola. We all know that it needs to have the position of the ball, where we all know that it's belonged to the past. And he has to change his way of thinking. I mean, it's easy now to play against Manchester City. You just wait, because nothing's going to happen. They're going to turn around and turn around. Only Cherki tried something today, didn't hide from anything, but the others, they were so slow. You could guess everything they were doing. And Bodø Glimt just had to wait. And it's what they did, and score in counter-attack. So you have to rethink your philosophy of football, otherwise you're going to be smashed, and it doesn't work anymore. Yes, you have young players at the back, but if you maybe start from asking your player, your midfielder, to ask the ball vertically and to space up the game, maybe you will put your centre-backs less in danger. So everything today was wrong, from the goalkeeper to the striker, but especially from Guardiola. And he can find any excuses. That's his tactic, which doesn't work anymore.